All right, good evening. All right, we're going to stand and sing a couple of hymns, if you will. If you'll stand and turn to page 333, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. We'll sing the first and the last verse. Some of you didn't come to choir on Sunday night, so I expect you to do this Sunday night. They're right, Lawrence.
Youth parents are going to meet about D now. I have to ask Chris where he wants to meet. I'm probably just being here, but also the security committee has a meeting afterwards as well, and we'll meet in where Terry Gatlin's group now meets. I did want to ask, if possible, if parents could go get their children at about 7:10 so that workers can come to the business meeting. That would be greatly appreciated. And you know what? You can bring your kids to the business meeting, because if you want them to sleep, I mean, there's nothing that will put them to sleep like a good Baptist business meeting. So they'll be ready for bed by that time. Something like that. Anyway, if you have your Bibles, I'd like you to turn to Genesis 18. I'll look at that in just a moment. I'm doing a study about corporate prayer, and then we're putting into practice that by breaking up into groups in here and having times of prayer. I've talked about some of the things I've talked about is what prayer meetings were marked by. Like when you read in the book of Acts, the prayer meetings that they had, it was marked by the presence of God, it was marked by the power of God, it was marked by edification in our walk with God. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of prayer, leading into some characteristics of prayer. And the purpose of prayer, and this, I don't think this will come as a shock to all of you. You all seem very spiritually mature and on the right path. But a lot of people think that prayer is all about, here is my grocery list of stuff I want from you, God. Here, take it. Fill it up. We actually think that God is like this new Kroger or Walmart, put it in on the internet and just go pick it up. And, we think, here, Lord, I'm going to send you my list of things that I want. I'll pick it up between 8 and 9 tomorrow. I'll get back with you, Lord, to pick that up. But that's not what prayer is. The purpose of prayer is to mature us and grow us in our walk with God. Now, you know that when the Bible talks about having a walk with God, it's talking about your lifestyle. It's talking about your relationship. It's talking about the path that you're taking with the Lord. How is it that you're following the Lord? Are you in close, intimate relationship with the Lord or not? And you look at the Old Testament, it talks about Enoch, who had a special walk with God. He walked with God so closely that in Genesis and then in Hebrews, it says that Enoch walked so closely with God that God just kind of brought him up. He didn't die, he just was kind of taken up and brought into God's presence. The Old Testament talks about Noah having a walk with God, David having a walk with God, Hezekiah having a walk with God. It's talking about the manner and the habits and the lifestyle of how they related to God. And so the great purpose of prayer is to walk with God in an intimate relationship. Prayer is a two-way street. You are just talking to God. You're listening to God through His Word and the impressions given to you about the Holy Spirit. Prayer really can be a two-way street. Yes, we come together and we lift up the needs of our church and our community, but it's also a time for God to work with us as individuals and as a group to mature us and grow us. Prayer is, again, more than just your grocery list. Imagine that you are supposed to have a close relationship with a spouse or a friend or a child or something, and the communication is all one way. You do all the talking, and you don't let the other person say anything else and speak into your life. So you're thinking, well, yeah, I know someone like that. They do all the talking. Well, I mean, do we do all the talking with God, or is it where we're allowing Him to affect our walk with Him? In Genesis 18, we also see that there was a great walk, a great relationship between God and Abraham. And I'll start in verse 16, and I might not read till the end of the chapter, but I just want to show you how this demonstrates the walk, and then some characteristics of prayer that we find here as well. It says, beginning in verse 16 of chapter 18, that the men set out from there, and the men were, there was two angels of the Lord who came in human form to Abraham. and ate with him, and now they're leaving. They're on their way. So the men set out from there, and they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to set them on their way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him? For I have chosen him that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has promised him. Then the Lord said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great and their sin is very grave, I will go down to see whether they've done altogether according to the outcry that has come to me, and if not, I will know. So the men turned from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And then Abraham drew near and said, will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you then sweep away the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to put the righteous to death with the wicked, so that the righteous fare as the wicked. Far be it that from you. Shall not the judge of the earth do what is just? And the Lord said, if I find at Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole place for their sake. And then, from there, he kind of keeps whittling it down. Abraham keeps talking to God and saying, well, what about 45? What about 40? What about 30? Eventually he gets down to 10. And then it says in verse 33, and the Lord went his way when he had finished speaking to Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. Two characteristics of prayer that I see that are demonstrated by the walk that Abraham had with God is the first, I think, is that you get to know God through prayer. You get to know what he's doing. You get to know who he is. You get to know his word more intimately. And so one of the characteristics of prayer and walking with God is to know God, to know him in a relationships type of way. When we speak of knowing God, we don't mean knowing the facts like you could win at a Bible trivia game or something like that. But to truly know him, know his heart, know his desires, know his will, know his purpose. And so here you see Abraham is getting to know God, and God is getting to know Abraham. And, Abraham has been called by God, and Abraham's like, you know what, I'm not going to hide from Abraham what I'm doing. I'm not going to hide from him how I work, what my plans are, because I'm in a relationship with him. He has a walk with me. God says, I'm going to let him know what exactly I'm up to. And so, he tells them about this great outcry that has come up against Sodom and Gomorrah. But not only is prayer there for us to know God, prayer is also there so that we can work with God, so that his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. His will will be done through us on earth as it is in heaven. If you have ever read any part of the Blackaby's Experiencing God, you know that a lot of what they teach is find out where God is working, meet him there, and join him there. And so through prayer, you come to know God and what it is he's working, what it is he desires, what is his path for you, and then you join him in the work. And as Abraham did, he was told, okay, there Sodom is about to be destroyed, Sodom and Gomorrah, that whole area, because of the great outcry of wickedness. And so he goes to work. I mean, we could say, even though it is a conversation, it really is a prayer. Well, Lord, would you really destroy the place if 50 righteous were there? And even Abraham knew there were nowhere near 50 righteous people there. So he said, well, what about 45? Would you still destroy it? No, I know the Lord would not do anything unjust. You wouldn't destroy the place if there were 45 righteous there. No, I will destroy it for the 45. And he keeps working. He's talking with God. He's getting to know God in his heart, but he's also working with God to join him there. He whittles him down to 10 because Abraham thinks, well, Lot and his family, that's a little less than 10, so I might be able to save Lot and his family. Well, I mean, God does spare Lot anyway. all the great saints of the Bible walked with God in this manner. Their prayers led them to increasingly know Him, to understand the purpose of His heart, recognize His activity, and respond by working with Him. And there's some implications to this. Prayer only becomes dynamic if it primarily focuses on knowing God and working with Him. Yes, we bring our requests, but you know what? When there's things going on in our lives, and we're praying to God about that, quite often we'll say, okay, Lord, this is happening in my life, not that you don't know that, and this is what I want the outcome to be. I want you to change this, turn it around, and this is how I want it to come about. Well, sometimes God is saying, no, I want you, through the experience that you're going through, to know me better, to join me in my work. And I'm using this situation in your life to get you where I want you to be. And so sometimes, instead of praying, Lord, this is going on in my life, I want you to change it, I want you to change it right now. Maybe a better prayer is, Lord, what are you trying to teach me through this? What do I need to know? What are you revealing about yourself to me through this situation? And what am I supposed to do in response to what it is? And so, and just like individuals, churches, they go through their times and their seasons, and they go through their issues and stuff. And so, then it's time for a church to say, Lord, what are you trying to teach us as a group? What is it that you're what do we need to learn? How do we need to mature through what it is that you are doing here? A second implication is that if we are to know God, prayer meetings must not focus on our need more than on Him. That we do that. And, I'm going to mention a lot of prayer points here in a minute, things going on in the church family. But, the emphasis isn't on these needs. The emphasis is on the one who can do something about these needs. And so we just have to it sounds very subtle, but there is a very subtle shift of motivation, I think, would be the same. Are you motivated to know Him and what He's doing and for Him to be glorified through whatever goes on? Or are you just motivated on, okay, Lord, fix this, and fix this? It's never wrong, like per se, to come with a need and say, Lord, I have this need. But the need is the preeminent. It's, Lord, what's going on? What can we do? So there's prayer points of things going on in the church family. Lord, what do I need to do in response to this? Maybe, I know someone right now is having some issues. What do I need to do to honor you, to glorify you, and help in this situation? Maybe we could even pray, how can I be an answer to the prayer that is being lifted up here? And the third implication is, if we are to work with God, the churches must have a clearly defined God-given purpose or assignment to pray about. We've been emailing back and forth on the missions committee, and we have said we want to be an Acts 1:8 church. We want to reach our Jerusalem, our Judea, our Samaria, and we want to reach the ends of the earth. Now the prayer is, Lord, how do we do that? We know that's our mission. We know that's what we are called to, but Lord, what's our part in all of that? And so that needs to be a large part of our prayer. What do you want Harvest to do? Yes, we are one church out of many. We are a small amount of people compared to the billions here on earth, but we have a mission, we have calling. What is it, Lord, and how are we going to do it? We pray about that. So we want to have enough time for us to split into groups here and have times of prayer. There are some things that I just want to bring up. We have a praise. Ms. Linda mentioned a praise that we have Marlene Warren listed on here. And she had stage 1 ovarian cancer, and she finished chemo, and she said we could take her off the prayer list because God has answered prayer. She's doing all right. So there you go. That is always a great thing to hear. I continue to pray for Miss Pat Brand after the passing of Mr. Jimmy, and her family. Be in prayer for David Farmer. His brother passed away from cancer. When his brother found the prostate cancer, it was already stage 4, and his brother passed away. And David's not here tonight. I guess the memorial service must be happening today or in the next few days. And so he's up there with family. You know, David went to MD Anderson a few weeks ago for his cancer. And his cancer is slow growing, and according to MD Anderson, his body is fighting against the cancer, and they don't want to do any treatments and weaken his body so that it doesn't fight the cancer. So that's kind of a praise and kind of just a prayer thing, because it's slowly growing, but his body's fighting it. But be in prayer also for his son, John Farmer. You know, we have mentioned in times past that John has had intestinal issues involving bleeding, and the doctors are saying that it is a colitis of some sort. But he spent several days in the hospital this past weekend, and he went home, and you know, he was on all sorts of medicine, and things looked like they were getting better, but now that he's back home, things went back to the way they were before. And so he needs a lot of prayer. I don't know if he's going to go back to the hospital or what right now. Just pray for him. Pray for David and Dawn, you know, as they travel this road with him. Be in prayer for Elaine Thrasher. About a month ago, Elaine had surgery on her eye. She only has one good eye, and she had a detached retina in that one good eye, and she had surgery about a month ago. It seemed to be getting better, but now, like this past week, things kind of started getting a little bit worse. And so she's going to her doctor down in Birmingham tomorrow to see if another surgery is needed or what's going on. So be in prayer for Elaine and Dennis. And, you know, it's just hard on Dennis because, you know, he has to, because she can't really see, he has to stay home with her pretty much all the time, so he can't go to work. And, you know, so there's issues there. You know, if there's, you know, something we can do as a church maybe to help Dennis in that, you know, that would be greatly appreciated. Maybe if some ladies from the church could spend a few hours with Elaine so he could go do what he needs to do, that would be great. Be in prayer for the drivers. They took baby Lucy to Birmingham this past weekend, and they trying to remember everything that Leah told me. I mean, baby Lucy is doing okay for the condition that she has with the heart, as best as can be possible, but because of the condition of her heart, she doesn't have energy to eat, so they had to put a feeding tube in, and they went and put the feeding tube in the stomach, which Leah says was a whole lot better than going up the nose and down the throat. So they're trying to make a decision of what the next surgery is going to be. And and I'm terrible with medical terminology, so I'm not going to try. There's one surgery that would probably be best, but they would have to go to Boston for it. Charles, you know, happen to know the name? Yeah, I could. Because I know y'all had talked to them this week, but her heart might not be strong enough for that, so they might have to do this other surgery, and that would be done in Birmingham. They go down on February 2nd for, I guess, a normal checkup. If they do the surgery in Birmingham, it might be end of February, beginning of March-ish. But, you know, the baby Lucy is doing well for the condition that she's in, but she has a long road ahead of her. And so, just pray for them, pray for Leah. I know she's tired. You know, they stay at home where they don't want sickness in the house. So, you know, they're trying to, you know, they're not trying to be antisocial. They just don't want to be around people and get sick and then bring home baby Lucy. So, being in prayer for the drivers. there's Ron. Ron, we had mentioned a few weeks ago, had a spot on his bladder, and they were doing tests to see if it was cancer. They found out last week that more than likely it is a bladder stone, it is not cancer. So they're going to do just whatever treatments need to be done, but they are running more tests just to figure out what the next step is, but praise the Lord, it's not cancer. Also be in prayer, D-Now is happening here in a few weeks. Was it 3 weeks? No, it's a little longer than that. 6 to 5 weeks. And on the back of the prayer sheet, I know normally you just have one on one side, but on the back of it, there is a prayer list for D-Now. Everything that's going on there. Am I forgetting anything? That was a lot, but am I forgetting anything? Or am I... Anything anyone want to add or updates? Or... No? Continue to pray for Susan's parents. I know Susan goes down on the weekends, but her dad, is taking care of her mom, and her mom's hospice kind of situation, and Alzheimer's, and he's tired. It's wearing on him. Be in prayer for Susan and family, for her dad as they take care of her. It's not easy. They need the strength. Oh, are they? Oh, no. Rick and Katie had the flu. Glad they didn't come back to share with us, but a lot of that is going around. So, anything else? Any other updates? Yeah,
Al, I have a friend I've asked for last to pray for. Since last time I spoke with him, I found out that he's also going through radiation. He has been going through chemo for a while, and now they're giving him steroids. His third bout with chemo and radiation, melanoma. His name is Mike Smith, which is good.
what's his name?
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith. Large friend Mike Smith going through all sorts of third round of treatment for cancer.
Yeah, this is been a recurring problem over the past 3 years. Pretty serious this time. They found it in his brain, in his lungs, and his liver.
Yes. But God can do miracles. So pray for him. Continue to pray for Tim Landry and his fight with cancer as well. Anything else? Well, why don't we split into groups? Group over here, group there, group over here, maybe. If at about 7, just kind of keep an eye on the time. If at about 7:10, those with small children, if you want to go and get your children so the workers can come to the meeting, and we'll start the prayer meeting about 7:15, 7:20, 20-ish. So why don't we go ahead and just have a time of corporate prayer?